Welcome into the Cowboys Report, presented today by Manscaped. You can get 20% off and free shipping on all of their top-of-the-line men's grooming products when you use promo code COWBOYS over at manscaped.com. Tell you more about them later on in today's show. A large portion of today's video is going to focus in on Tony Pollard, plus some Terence Steele conversation. The franchise tag deadline, depending on when you're watching, roughly 24 hours away from now. Do you want the Cowboys to even extend Pollard, though? S for you want to sign him, W for you want to wait. Go vote in the comment section. The Cowboys have until 4 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow to work out a long-term deal, or else Pollard will play this year on the franchise tag. The Jags beat the buzzer earlier today to get a deal done for Evan Ingram. Doesn't sound like Josh Jacobs is going to get paid. We'll see if Saquon Barkley ends up getting the bag. But the expectation as of now is that Pollard and the Cowboys will not end up getting a deal done before that franchise tag deadline. The hypothetical number I've seen thrown out there from a couple different places, I think it's a decent starting point for the conversation at least, is a 3-year, $27 million deal million total deal with $18 million guaranteed. Now, as a general benchmark starting point, $9 million per year, $18 million guaranteed, that's a pretty fair offer when you look at what other backs are getting. That would, depending on the franchise tag number there, slot in at number 9. I would assume Barkley Jacobs get more, so 9th highest paid back in terms of the per year number. Seems about right for Pollard, maybe a little bit higher, but I don't know if he's going to command $11 or $12 million per year. The Joe Mixon number is kind of wonky. We don't have the exact details in terms of what his pay cut is, but that might actually put Pollard right in that same benchmark. The guaranteed money, meanwhile, is $18 million. That puts him at 6th among backs. So you're in that clear-cut top 10 range. That does make sense, except for this big issue. Tony Pollard is locked into $10.1 million this year. He is getting that figure. He's already signed his franchise tag. There can be no rescinding. He's going to get that $10 million. So in reality, that extension becomes a 2-year, $17 million deal with about $8 million guaranteed. That's not a great deal for Pollard. And you would think, he thinks, and I would agree with him, he can exceed that figure in the open market next year. And it's probably a worthwhile gamble from that perspective for him to not take that offer and say, you know what, I bet I can get that figure or more next offseason. I'm going to ride with my $10 million guaranteed. A lot more to come on this here, plus what I think maybe a better deal might look like overall and why I don't think it gets done in the end. But will Dallas get a deal done with Tony Pollard? Y for yes, N for no. Go vote in the comment section. It is today's pinned comment, so if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and go vote. Y for yes, N for no. The running back market in general is not very favorable right now. Miles Sanders, who is not as good as Tony Pollard, got 4 years, $25 million, $13 million guaranteed, though. Again, that's why the Tony Pollard's franchise tag almost guarantees as much as that. It's the second most guaranteed of any back this offseason. Because David Montgomery, now with the Detroit Lions, got 3 years, $18 million, $8.75 million guaranteed. Jamal Williams, 3 years, $12 million, $8.15 million guaranteed. So shorter APY, but actually more guaranteed there, which makes it interesting. That deal, 3 years, $18 million guaranteed, is a good offer for a free agent back. But because Pollard has $10 million guaranteed already, if I were advising him as agent, I think this is what the agency's doing, by the way, I'd say, you know what, Tony? Let's bet on yourself. All you have to do is get $8 million guaranteed this upcoming offseason. David Montgomery and Jamal Williams, or next offseason. David Montgomery and Jamal Williams got that in a down market with more cap space available next year. The franchise tag cost, by the way, next season is $12.11 million. At times, you will see agencies say, well, the minimum guaranteed money should be this year's franchise tag and next year's franchise tag. I don't think necessarily the Pollard camp's going to take that approach because I don't know if he gets tagged next year. But let's say hypothetically that Tony Pollard gets the Miles Sanders deal next offseason. That he gets a little bit less than maybe what we think he's actually worth. He just copy-pastes the Miles Sanders contract. He ends up getting in total 5 years, this year and next year, $35.4 million. That's only $7.8 million on average, so it's a less APY than the $327 hypothetical, but it is $23 million guaranteed. That puts him in the top 5 pretty clearly for backs among that figure. And I think especially for running backs, in the modern day NFL, the guaranteed money is always what's mattered the most, but at running back in particular, that's really impactful because the reality is these shelf lives are short. You're not going to be around for a very long time. The bigger the guaranteed money you get, the better you'll set yourself up for a long term. We're going to break down what ESPN had to say on the running back rankings, where Pollard sits in there. But first, we're talking backs, we're talking ball security, and ball security is job security after all. So make sure your balls are looking fresh and clean with Manscaped. 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com when you use promo code Cowboys. The Performance Package on sale, 20% off. That is the Lawnmower 4.0, the most comfortable boxers known to mankind. The Lawnmower, which helps, helps downstairs, and the Weed Whacker, which helps your nose and ear hair if that's a problem for you. Ball toner, ball conditioner as well. This is the best package that Manscaped offers. So upgrade your package in the process. 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code Cowboys over at manscaped.com. That link, by the way, folks, will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. Go check it out. Manscaped.com, promo code Cowboys. ESPN has put out their running back rankings based on conversations with execs, coaches, players. Of the rankings, this is probably one of the better batches, all things considered. Nick Chubb is number 1. Christian McCaffrey's number 2. Josh Jacobs 3. Saquon 4. Derrick Henry 5. Jonathan Taylor 6. Alvin Kamara 7. Dalvin Cook, who will list as the Vikings since that was his last team, but of course he's a free agent. Then Tony Pollard. The only change I'd really advocate here in like a massive fashion is I would put Tony Pollard over Dalvin Cook. I think Cook's on the decline. Pollard's on the ascent there. I also wouldn't be shocked if, as we saw with this last rankings, there are some major changes next year. Alvin Kamara is going to be suspended. I don't know how much he really has left in the tank, but for now, I wouldn't argue too much about Kamara over Tony Pollard, etc. I am glad they put Pollard over Eckler. I think that was a good decision by those voters. Pollard is a 1,000-yard rusher this past year, and the one constant, I will harp on this many a time, from his college days to now, Tony Pollard's gotten a bigger workload every single season, and the numbers haven't really changed. From his rookie season, 5.3 yards per carry, to 5.2. More touchdowns. Plenty of big plays still. I'm a big fan of what Pollard has done so far in his NFL career. So where would you guys rank Pollard among NFL running backs? I don't think anyone's going to put him at 1. I don't know how many top 5 votes he'll even end up getting. He didn't get very many in the ESPN rankings, but I think he's definitely top 10. So where would you rank him? Go vote in the comment section. Some quotes here from some of those ESPN, I don't know if sources is the right word, but I'll use that. One unnamed, anonymous veteran NFL coach who maybe had him, someone had Pollard at 4, maybe it was this guy, because I call him a lemonade player. He turns lemons into lemonade, makes something out of nothing. It doesn't have to be perfect for him to make plays. That's such coach speak, by the way. Another veteran NFL coach who did not have Pollard in the top 10 says, I like the player, but I need to see him do it another year before I place him in the top 10. Need to see more. Maybe this is someone who put Aaron Jones in at number 10 instead of Tony Pollard. Obviously, a big portion of today's show on Tony Pollard. Well, if you are subscribed to the Cowboys Report, we will be live earlier than normal on Monday with the franchise tag deadline coming normally right when we start the show. We'll bump it up an hour, maybe go a little bit earlier if there's some juice out there we want to discuss. Hit that sub button right now. Make sure you are subscribed so you can tune in for our live show on Monday. We'll wrap up here with some Terence Steele conversation. Mike Fisher reports the Cowboys have had contract talks with Steele's camp, which I do very much buy. It would be a little weird if they hadn't at least touched base at some point this offseason. Steele is recovering from his knee injury, but actually does seem ahead of schedule. That can always be a best shape of life BS, but from even dating back to not long after surgery, seems like things have been recovering pretty well there. If Terence Steele does end up resigning, he would be the right tackle of the future for the Cowboys, despite some whispers of maybe getting some left guard run. We'll know more at camp. Here's what Mike Fisher reports here. It might not be the highest profile move or even the highest priority move, but the Dallas Cowboys are in the midst of contract negotiations with offensive lineman Terence Steele, with both sides hoping for a sort of a Cowboy for life deal. I don't really know about the Cowboy for life aspect. That would pretty much be the Tyron Smith deal, where you're getting like a 7-year contract and you're locked in for a decade there. I highly doubt that actually happens. I interpret that more of, we want to make sure Terence Steele's happy when we want to have him under contract for the next few years. I would be pretty blown away if the Cowboys did like a 7-year deal for Terence Steele to actually make him a borderline Cowboy for life. We're going to go more in depth on paying Terence Steele and what Spotrac has suggested as a contract for him. But do you want to extend Terence Steele? P for pay him right now. H for hold off. Maybe you just want to see how that recovery from the injury goes. Now, in Fish's headline, he had thrown $50 million out there, which was based on the Spotrac market value and then used as a dismissive aspect, which okay. But Spotrac actually has updated that in a recent article with their proposal. 4 years, $65 million. That's $16.25 million per year, and guaranteed money of $45 million. That is a very pro Terence Steele contract. Dallas does not win that negotiation. Now, the pros cap hits are broken down like this. It does include the tender this year, so there's some adjustment there. So it's really a 5-year deal worth closer to about $70 million, which might be a little bit more palatable for you guys. But it's 4.5, 14.5, $20 million. There's a roster bonus there. The theory is you restructure it, push some money off into the future, bring the cap hit down, which is very similar to, frankly, how the Cowboys have structured that Michael Gallup contract to a certain extent. So that's $16.25 million per year. That would slot him in at 8th among offensive linemen. There is a very interesting tier gap here between guys like Taylor Motton, Braden Smith, Jack Conklin, Rob Havenstein, and Caleb McGarry got paid this offseason. I would wonder if Dallas would want to get him more in the Caleb McGarry, maybe $12 million per year range. And in that scenario, that's a decent fair value between Steele and the Cowboys if they believe he's going to be healthy. Steele was really good last year. I did not like starting him to begin his career as a UDFA. I thought that was a disaster. It didn't go very well on the left side. But the right side for Steele, look, he's gotten better each and every single year. You missed him as a run blocker last year. So Steele, who I didn't even have as a draftable player, has certainly proved really everybody wrong so far in his NFL career. And I've heard good things about that injury recovery as we sit. Ideally, this is your 5 offensive linemen. We know Tyron Smith will get hurt, so I think at some point you'll need Terence Steele there on the right side, and hopefully he's healthy for week 1.